how you doing? I hope you're well. I'm Deanna and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to go through my Q3 stats. First things first, I will take you through a journal flip through. I love my reading journal. It is one of my biggest creative outlets outside of filming and posting on Instagram. So yes, I will show you that before we get stuck into my updates on my challenges and my overall stats for the quarter. So as mentioned in the intro of this video, this is my Q3 journal flip through. I am filming it a bit late, so you will see stuff from October in some of these spreads, but without further ado, let's get into it. So we are going to be definitely branching into a journal number 2 for 2025. I probably won't fill it as much, but I have a plan on how to fill up the rest of the journal space and have it as like a paper catalog of my physical TBR, which I've seen on other people's journals, but obviously my physical TBR is wild. It's at like 400 books or something at least. So yeah, I use the Lectrum 1917 journals. I don't know, I just like them. They're like a traditional bullet journal, not really your like crafty bullet journal, I'd say. So here we go, got my cover page. I have fallen out of love in updating this, but I will go ahead and do that. We have my cover page, hasn't changed. We still have the beautiful Minaguli Suli art stickers, and I need to buy some more for 2026 setup. I just love the way that this overall spread is a really visual representation of all the books I've read and the ratings I've given, and yeah, I just really love it. Then we have my shelfie, which is books on my shelf. I'm actually going to create another single spread for the second journal, and this here are the books that I've read off my shelves, which I need to now add. So I'm definitely going to bring a double spread back to 2026. My goals haven't changed and won't change until the end of 2026 when I actually start to tick off this. Although if I end up, I might have ticked off the rereads actually, and I might have ticked off the series. Have done horrifically with clear a shelf and catch up on arcs, and I've definitely bought more than 10 books per month, so not doing very great in that. I'm going to reassess these goals, and with trying to reduce my buying, I'm not sure whether maybe putting like a monetary value down. I know one of the girls I've been talking to on Instagram, she sets like a price limit. I could say you have $100 a month to spend on books if you want. I guess if I don't want to, that's all good, but at least I have that. And then if I then buy a special edition, which is $80, I've only got $20 to spend. So that might be a better way. Instead of saying 10 books, if they're all special editions, I'm probably not saving anything. And interested to see, because I know, is it Izzy from Happy for Now? She mentions like how much money she saves by using Kindle Unlimited, and I think there's another creator who I can't remember, and things like Everand, those subscription service, even library. So I might put that spread in my journal next year as well. Here is my overview. As you can see, still not reading a great number of physical books, but I'm doing better than I think I did last year. Audio is still reigning supreme. Arcs, I'm still in a slippery slope with getting too many arcs, and now, to be honest, very much a burnout stage, so haven't been writing any reviews, but we've got a public holiday coming up for Cup Day. Stupid public holiday, but I do appreciate that I get the day off, and I will go ahead and try and get some reviews caught up on. But I will say for this quarter, we did read a lot of sequels. That's amazing. Even though we're reading a lot of sequels, we're not finishing a lot of series. In this quarter, we only finished 4 series, but we started, what, like 15? And we made progress on like another 14. I am officially in love with how this series tracker looks, and I'm so excited to have it keep going next year. I think this is a perfect way to keep me accountable. I will say I'm probably gonna have to change up the pens I use for this, because I really do prefer like a really inky gel pen, which takes a while to dry, which as you can see, like here for example, when I've gone to go over with the highlighter, it's leaked. So I might use a different pen next year just to make sure that doesn't happen. My anticipated releases still have some outstanding, but this is kind of a nice to have. I never really have a goal of finishing this. There's no surprises that some authors, you know, Devon Sinclair, Lana Pericek, Alexis Grace, Nalini Singh, Meg Ann and Kayla Rain have been ticked off because they're an LA Cannon and A.P. Barley, because these are like auto-buy authors. Most of them I got review copies, so I was very lucky. I was always going to read them. Arc-log, as you can see, there are still a number of arcs I haven't got around to reading, and still a number of arcs that I haven't got around to writing the review of. I think I put a lot of pressure on writing reviews, and I will write for my blog anywhere from like 500-600 words up to 1,000 words, which I then have to cut down for Instagram to be like 200 words. So I'm just going to trial when doing the catch up to just a really quick review and see if that helps me feel better about being behind, because I was very luckily given reviews, and there's a few in particular this month that I feel bad about not having written a review for. They're not even on this list because they came in after, but things like, I'm gonna give myself some saving grace here. Blood Lies by R.L. Calder and Bound to the Beasts by Ari Wright, which I still haven't written reviews for, and also The Final Tour by Lucifer. For 2026, I'm going to do my arc log, but I'm also going to do a catch-up bookcase, and I'm going to put the title, so I've already started planning my journal, so this is why you're getting these kind of thoughts from me. I'm going to do a bookcase like this, and I'm going to already pre-fill the title of the review copies that I'm behind in and have had hanging over for up to the last 2 years. And when I finish it, I can get to color it in. And I'll probably color code that one based on the month I read them. Moving forward for my just physical book shelfie, I'm going to, instead of having the star rating, since it's a double up of what's happening on this spreads, I'm going to color code by genre. Rereads, hold on. Actually, I have read 10 because I've got Wanda Smith here as well. So, ooh, let us go back to the goals page. Reread 10 books. Boom. Love that. That feels good. Love this spread. I'm going to continue to do that next year. Buzzword readathon. Struggle. Struggle, struggle, struggle. You'll hear more about it in the rest of this video. But I think for next year, I'm only going to pick one. We are doing pretty good here. I think I'm just missing, I need to read a mystery or a thriller, romantic thriller set in winter, which I do have an arc for one that I'm going to be able to cross off. It is Hiding for the Holidays by Shona Knight, so that will definitely be done. And I really just want to read Hook, Line and Sinker and get that duology crossed off. So very confident I will be able to finish this by the end of the year, which will be fantastic. And I really do love the way it looks, and I've realized that the little extra things here, the market, Urban Legends Nights and Firefly Camp, were their readathons. So really do hope this comes back in 2026 and we'll do a very similar layout. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 left of the bonus prompts. I think I mentioned in last quarter I have just given up doing them seasonally, and I'm just going to, if I find a book, I will go ahead and just tick it off. So I'm sure I can look through and see if there's anything I can tick off for the new to you or debut author. I am reading, have started an MM romance and I've just put it down. This one is going to be a KM Moranova book. This one is going to be the new Jacqueline Benson in her, what's the series called? Empire. I'll show you. I've got the beautiful special editions here. Hold on. So this series is like The Mummy, and it's got a historical setting, and the way she set them up is that they look like books that would be published in the 1800s. So the first book is Empire of Shadows, and I mean, look at that. It's a cloth cover, deckled edges. The way it is set up in the front feels very vintage and love it. This one is set in Latin America where they're finding a kind of lost city of El Dorado. Then we've got Tomb of the Sun King, which I love, and this one gives the most mummy vibes as they're off to Egypt. And the third book is, we have the coloured map of the Valley of the Kings. These were on a Kickstarter. I joined the Kickstarter for the second book and was able to get the first book. So if these sound like at all your vibe, highly recommend. And the third book, we're heading to India, so I'm very excited and impromptu flip through, but the third book in this series will be what I read for an adventure romance book. And there is a light speculative element as well. And then a book by an Indigenous author. The Australian Readathon, their book of the month was a book by a First Nations Australian person, so I will try and read that one. Or I also have a poetry book as well, so I might either pick the poetry book I have called Drop Bear or the rom-com, depending on what I'm feeling. I haven't read any poetry this year, so poetry might be the way to go. But hopefully they drop the board for next year in the prompts because I'm very excited. And then we get into our monthlies. So let me flip through to what really is my favorite cover spread of the year. Oh, here she is. Earlier I had been doing genres and vibes, but at this point I'd moved to particular books. And we have The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller, and I just love the way they turned out. This was an image that I found on Pinterest. I will mention the creator down below. I think this looks beautiful. We also have a nod to Hadestown because me and my brother saw Hadestown twice in June and I loved it. So loved the way this turned out. And then we have our formats. Read 17 books in July, which is incredible. And then we've got our little Tetris thing, which I just love the Tetris thing. Hold on. Here we go. I forgot to put genres there. So here we go. There's my hold. And then we have the Australian Readathon. I also ran out of glue tape. So this has been the first time I was using regular glue and it just didn't work as much as I wanted. You can tell there was just something about this book that was very slow to start. So I didn't finish that until August. We then have August. Again, another book that I finished in August at some stage, but I didn't put down the time. This is Nalini Singh's Psy Changeling series. We have the main characters from book one. I tried to get like, this is the Psy, you have like the arrows, the snow dancers, we have the Moscow bears. That is also, sorry, Sasha and Lucas. So that's Lucas, again the Psy Cardinal Eyes, and we have the Hawks, which we met in Atonement Sky, which I did read in July. Again, we've got my stats, and again, I forgot to type genres. I clearly had a book in mind for this, and it just didn't work out. It just didn't work out, and that's fine. And I was doing ARC August. I signed up late, so they only had the like non-competitive version, which actually worked really well for me. And I did start an extra ARC, but didn't get to it. So these were the amount of ARCs I finished, and I just colored them in based on their genre. So I had 2 fantasy romance, 2 paranormal, an Amigaverse, and a romance. So the last spread I'll show you is September, which is another one I'm obsessed with, and this is my Lana Pericek spread for the Company of Vengeful Crows, which is the 9th book in her Fae Guardian series. It's the 10th book in the Fae Guardian series. It is the 4th trilogy in this world, and we are following River and Blake, and we finally have the Season of the Crow. And this artwork is by Lana, and I couldn't help myself. I needed it to be my focal piece, and was trying to kind of do something similar to what we did with The Song of Achilles. And then you've got the 3 crows here. They've kind of got this Romani vibe, which I love. Here we have my stats and my hold. I did a pretty good job with my hold, which is great because we definitely went a little extra in October for round. And then it was the second round of the Aurelia Magical Readathon hosted by G from the Book Roast, and I managed to complete it. There were a lot of changes based on mood reading from my TBR, but I still managed to cross off all the prompts. So very, very excited about that one. And then the very last spread I wanted to show you was the bingo board that we have tucked in the back, which was created by Hannah Blackwell. And as you can see, I just have one more to cross off. And do I have it nearby? No, I don't. Where did I put it? I am planning on reading The Night and the Moth for this prompt, unless anything else is fantasy romance and gothic that sticks out to me. But yes, that is my journal as it stands. The spine is actually holding up pretty well, and let's head back over to talk about all things stats based. Perfect. So let's have a look at our challenges. There's quite a few that I'm in the middle of, but hey, let's go. So first things first, my Goodreads Storygraph overall how many books I want to read for the year. I always set it 100, and as of Q3 I've reached 141 books, which is crazy. I think this is going to be on track to being one of my most successful reading years ever, so very excited about that. Next challenge is my Around a Year in 52 Books challenge. This is one that's hosted over on Goodreads, and it's one that I love doing each year, even though I never have the full intention of completing it. Of the 52 books, I've only added an extra one this quarter, so I'm at 45. So I've got 7 more to read. I'll see how it goes. With these challenges, I always fit the book retroactively to the prompt, so we'll see. I'm still thrilled with the progress I've made. I'm also doing the buzzword challenges hosted by Layla from Books and Lala, and we are not doing so great in these ones. But recently I saw it on Beth. I'll link her below, and she was doing like a update on her reading journal and just like a chatty update, and she mentioned the differences between like goals and targets. And you know, goals are something you'll work towards and are nice to have if you reach them, where targets are something you must reach. And I think I just really liked that mindset, and it's something I'm going to adopt, so thank you so much for that. These are goals. I'd like to reach them. If I don't get to them, it wasn't meant to be, and we can always try again next year. There are 2 challenges in this one, and the titles, I have the idea is you read a book with a title to match the buzzword. I have read 2. So I did complete June's challenge, which was memory word in the title, and I read Forget Me Twice by E.J. Campbell. And July's prompt was punctuation in the title, and I read The Final Revival of Opal and Neb by Dawnie Walton. I don't know what happened with me this quarter, but I got a month behind in terms of what I thought I was supposed to be reading, so I'm a bit behind in that one. So I didn't get to August prompt, which was With, and I had picked Within the Hollow Crown by Margaret Campbell Barnes. This is a historical fiction which looks at Richard II, who was an English king I am interested in, but I didn't get around to picking this one up. And for September, the prompt was Event, and the book I had selected was Twisted Games by Eva Ashwood. This is a dark romance. I am still very much interested in reading this one, so hopefully I will squeeze it in at the end of the year. I'm going to treat like November and December as a way to try and catch up and read as many books from these challenges as possible. So hopefully we'll see this one ticked off in Q4. For the covers challenge, again, I ticked off 2 prompts, one of them which wasn't in this quarter, but I did tick off May's prompt, which was and I read Fabled by Adrienne Young. And I did complete July's prompt, which was Technology on the cover, and I read First Time Caller by B.K. Borison. My shelves are a mess right now, so I cannot find this book, but I know I do physically own it. Hopefully I haven't chucked it in the on whole pile. For August, we had Transportation on the cover, and I picked La Belle Sauvage by Philip Pullman. I have recently got the audiobook from my library, so hopefully I will be able to tick this one off shortly. And for September, we had Foliage, so I've picked The Ensemble by Arj Gable. This was a book that I got in a subscription box. I don't even remember which subscription box it is, but throughout we have like post-it notes which have the author's thoughts and annotations throughout, and it's one that focuses on music, and I'm always a sucker for music in books, so we're following a string quartet, I believe, and yeah, I'm always interested to read more about the music industry in all its forms. The next challenge we have is the Romanceopoly challenge, which is hosted by Under the Cover Book Blog, which I'll link below, and I love this one. I have done a fantastic job. I have completed 18 of the 20 prompts, which I will leave the board here. I always say it, but I am endlessly in love with the illustration of this one. So I've only got 2 more prompts to go. Hopefully I should be able to tick them off this quarter. And then in terms of the bonus prompts, there are 16 bonus prompts, and I managed to complete 4 more. So I've completed 9 of the 16. So the bonus prompts I completed was Valentine Day Prelude, which was a romance that features a grand gesture, secret admirer, or Valentine's Day themes. And I read Not Her Catch by Ari Wright. Then we had The Luck of the Irish, which was a book with an Irish main character or set in Ireland, and I ticked both of those off with Emily Wilde's Compendium of Lost Tales by Heather Fawcett. Then there was Parent Trap, was to read a book featuring a strong parental figure, and for that I included First Time Caller by B.K. Borison, as it features a single mum. And I also ticked off Lotus and Lee, which is a book by an Asian American or Pacific Island author, and for that I read The God and the Guishin by Sophie Kim, which is a fantasy romance which features Korean mythology, which I absolutely adore. The next challenge is the Clear a Shelf challenge, which I lovingly borrowed from Win from Literary Diversions. And it's a challenge that I am consistently doing poorly with, but I'm keeping my, it's a goal and a nice to have, so I'm not too stressed about it. And this quarter I managed to finish one book, and that was Assault to Touch by Opal Rain. We'll see if I pick up any more. These two shelves do have a lot of paranormal in it, so maybe I can get to some of those in the spooky season. Next is my priority series. So these are the 7 series that Hayden, my partner, picked for me to complete by the end of the year, and I've only made progress in one of the series, which was the Guild Hunter series by Nalini Singh. So I read Archangel's Lineage. I still have the novella collection and Archangel's Ascension, so hopefully we can see some more progress with this one. And I'm still haven't picked up any more of Time and Chance by Sharon Penman, but this is definitely going to be a priority in November to clear my currently read shelf and finish this one. Was thoroughly enjoying it. I just haven't been in the mental space for a heavy historical fiction, but I have completed 3 of the 7 series so far, so yeah, let's see if we can make some more progress in the coming quarter. It would be nice to finish them all, but we'll see what happens. Next, we have my newest challenge, which is the R Fantasy Bingo. This is originally hosted on Reddit and started in April, and I'm actually doing pretty okay with this one. I had ticked off 6 prompts in the first quarter, which was keeping up really good pace, and I have now finished 12. So I'm halfway through the challenge, which is where I'm supposed to be. So these are the prompts I've completed here. So the new books I've ticked off are Down with a System, which is to read a book where the main plot revolves around disrupting a system. Hard Mode is not a governmental system, so I didn't get hard mode for this one, but for this I picked Tenebrum by Eleanor Miller, which is a noir dystopian crime thriller, which is set in a world where the Prohibition era has circled back around again. I also ticked off Published in 2025, so this is a book that's been published for the first time in 2025, and Hard Mode is it's a debut novel. I didn't do Hard Mode, but the book I chose for this one was Exquisite Monsters by Devon Sinclair. This is the second book in her Dragons of Vieira series, and it's a Why Choose fantasy romance with dragon shifters. Next prompt was an author of color, and this was to read a book by a person of color, and Hard Mode was a horror novel. I just did the standard mode for this one and have read The God and the Gishwin by Sophie Kim, and this is the second book in the Fates Threads duology. Absolutely loved it. We've got an urban fantasy with Korean folklore sprinkled throughout, and it just makes me so excited to dive into Korean folklore. The author herself does mention that she's like twisted the myths to fit her story, so they're not like traditional retellings, but it's definitely piqued my interest and I'm excited to find out more. The next prompt I finished was A Stranger in a Strange Land, which is to read a book that deals with a foreigner in a new culture, and the character or characters must either be visiting or moving in as a minority, and Hard Mode is the main character is an immigrant or a refugee. I guess it could be for Hard Mode, but I went with A Company of Vengeful Crows by Lana Perachek. This is the 10th book in her Fae Guardian series, and our female main character Blake is a human, which are minorities in this world. She is from Australia and is one of the people who had, I guess, been frozen and during the nuclear apocalypse that happened, and is now awake and alive centuries later trying to figure out what the hell is going on. I also ticked off Cozy SFF, which a cozy is up to your preference of what you find comforting, but the genre typically features relatable characters, low stakes, minimal conflict, and happy ending. Hard Mode is an author that's new to you, so I didn't read Hard Mode, but I did pick up The Vampire Castle in the Sky with Iris Lake. This is a beautiful story which has the whimsy of a Studio Ghibli film or a fairy tale. This one does have a bit of a darker twist as we're dealing with themes of grief, but absolutely loved it. Loved the writing. It's like a warm hug. The last prompt I completed was Pirates, which is a book where the character engages in piracy. Hard Mode is not a seafaring pirate. I did just tick off the standard version there and read Fable by Adriana Young. There you go. I am very much on track with this challenge, so very excited. I have got a few books earmarked for the other 12 prompts, but we'll see what happens. So let's move on to all things stats, which I personally love. So first things first, in this quarter I've read 45 books, which is just crazy, which took place over 8,736 pages, which that number is just wild to me. Having a look at my average rating is 4.5 stars, which is phenomenal. So I had 16 5 stars, 18 4.5 stars, 8 4 stars, and 3 3.5 stars. Speaking of star ratings, let's have a look at all the books I gave 5 stars to in like a little rapid fire celebration. So we have A Lance by Jane Washington, Atonement Skies by Nalini Singh, Darkness of Mine by Alexis Grace, The Company of Vengeful Crows by Lana Pericek, Emily Wilde's Compendium of Lost Tales by Heather Fawcett, The Scent of Us Part 2 by Ileana Lee, Just One Bite by S.L. Coakley, Sin, Chaos and Malice, all by Kay Lorraine and Meg Ann, Exquisite Monsters by Devon Sinclair, Nevermore, The Trials of Morrigan Crow and Wanda Smith, The Calling of Morrigan Crow by Jessica Townsend, The Final Revival of Opal and Nev by Dawnie Walton, and A Storm in Every Heart by Kate King. Moving on to formats. To no one's surprise, I am a digital reader through and through, so 24 of the books I read this quarter, which is nearly half of them, have been audio. I read 13 ARCs, 6 ebooks, and 2 physical books, which is really exciting to see. I try and prioritize the books on my shelves for audio, so sometimes I have been tandem reading or immersive reading and picking up the physical book at the same time, which is also a lot of fun. Let's have a look at genres. No one will be surprised at my top 3, so my most popular genre for this quarter was romance with 12, followed by paranormal with 11, and Omegaverse coming in third place at 10 books read. I read 5 fantasy romance, 4 fantasy, 1 literary fiction, and 1 mythology. Let's have a look at my series versus standalone. As we know, one of my biggest priorities of the year is to finish and continue on with series because I'm in the middle of a crazy amount of them. And having a look at this beautiful pie chart, I'm definitely making headways in that goal. So I had 14 first books in this quarter, 30 sequels, and 1 standalone. Let's have a look at the authors. I've been tracking to see how many new to me versus read before authors, and of the 45 books, 9 of them had come from new to me authors and 36 from known authors. Of those 9 new to me authors, I gave 2 5 stars. First one going to Just One Bite by S.L. Coakley. She writes new adult paranormal romance, and I completely devoured this. This gave me all the same cozy vibes of like new adult college romance, like the Al Kennedy off-campus series, but had the added bonus of having werewolves and vampires. We're following a girl who is a ballerina, and she has been finally given the chance to go to this academy, which is where humans, vampires, werewolves all go. It's like the top Ivy League school in the area, and she is a ballerina and is hoping to land a place on the school's ballet company because it'll be a fast track to getting an audition with an international ballet company. She and her sisters haven't gone into the donor program, which is supposed to be a very safe way for humans to be able to live in this society, and with her and her sisters having extra sweet smelling blood, it becomes a risk for them. Luckily for them, we have our main hero, Parker Owens, who steps in. He is a hybrid vampire werewolf and steps in and offers to fake date Olivia to protect her, because if they're seen as mates, his pack will extend protection to Olivia and her sisters. And he is one of the most eligible bachelors on campus. He's the captain of the Rage team, which is like supernatural hockey on crack. He gives like adorable but also psychotically obsessive, and loved their relationship. They go to fake dating to maybe they're meant to be mates. I had so much fun and very excited to dive into the rest of her previous series, The Blood That Binds Us, which I think is another, this one's just vampires, but like gives that kind of same rom-com vibes. And then Dawnie Walton was the other author I gave 5 stars to, with the final revival of Opal and Nev, and this is just fantastic. Like, I'm still thinking about this book. Faux music journalism nonfiction is a unique niche category which I love, and this is a phenomenal example of it. We're following Afro-punk group Opal and Nev, and it's really an exploration of what it's like to be in the music industry, especially as a woman, and in Opal's case, a black woman. You are the talent and the selling point that people have attached themselves to, but they don't necessarily have your back, and the industry is ruthless, and people, white men in particular, will make decisions which will impact your safety, and in this case leads to the death of their drummer, who is a black man. And it was so expertly done. Like, the way I tell you that there was multiple times I went to pick up my phone to Google this image that they'd mentioned from the newspaper, or listen to the song that they released, or find out more about this band, and then I had to sit back and realize, oh shit, this is a fake band. It was just incredible. She has this seamless way of weaving in the social unrest and the race concerns of the 70s, along with the music in that late 60s, early 70s, in that like pre-punk and then punk era. It was just phenomenal, and I don't know if she's written anything else, but if she has, I'm definitely going to read it. Then let's have a look at target audience. So I predominantly do read adult books, and this is a stat that I may take out for 2026, but there was some interesting change. So I read 42 adult books, 1 YA and 2 middle grade. So the YA was Fabled by Adrian Young, and the middle grade were the 2 books in the Nevermore series by Jessica Townsend. This might be something I still track in my spreadsheet, but I'm gonna remove it from the videos moving forward. And then last, I just want to get a look at book status, and this I mentioned in my last stats doesn't kind of give a good indication of what's actually physically on the shelves, because any audiobook I've bought or digital art copy I do mark as owned. So in my spreadsheet for next year, I'll just put owned and then dash P or D just to indicate what's coming off the shelf so I can get a better look at it. So luckily 40 of the books that I read were owned, 4 came from KU and 1 from Everend. And I think with that is my rapid fire look at this past quarter. So you got to see my reading journal, an update on my challenges, and my reading stats. So comment down below and let me know how your most recent reading quarter went. How are you going with your challenges? What reading challenges are you taking part in? Or maybe let me know what new to you author you've discovered in the last 3 months. Or you can leave me any kind of like stat emoji. I do love some pie charts and statistics here. Linked in the description box below will be these books reviews if I have them, and links to my social media channels if you'd like to talk to me or follow me on any other corner of the internet. If you'd like to see more content from me, please like and subscribe. That's all from me today, guys. I hope you're doing all kinds of well, and I'll speak to you soon. See ya!